Welcome to another Radar Companion video. This is to go over the new features of the R4 Companion version 1.02. I'm going to go ahead and run the app. And we'll show you what's new with this. So the first thing you'll notice
R4 connected
is up at the top we have now the R4 settings button. So if you want to go in and see what some of these settings are in the firmware on the R4, you go ahead and click that. And here we have a bunch of settings that are easily changeable so that you don't have to go into the menu settings of the detector itself. So for example, the display color. You can go ahead and change the display color to blue, and then it'll change the display, as you can see on the radar detector on the left. So let's go through some of those features we have here. So we have the alert display. Currently have it on set number 2, and I'll go ahead and hit that with the signal so you can see it. Alert display number 2 is a larger text for the frequency and for
laser
alerts.
laser
So you can see the alert there.
laser laser
If we change it to 1, and we hit it with the same thing, you can see it's a smaller text, and it also offers you on the alert display number 1 the ability to see the different bands that come in as the secondary signals down at the bottom. So we have the alert display, we have the brightness, so you can change the brightness of the display. We showed you the
all
color of the display that you can change. You can do the priority alert here. You can do that between KA and the signal strength. So if you want KA to always be the default priority, you can go ahead and click that, or you can change it to signal. If you have a lot of KA threats in your area, you want to keep that on KA. Then we have the all threats on. What that is it'll show you multiple threats. It'll show you the primary on the display, and then secondaries as smaller letters of K and X. We have the auto mute volume. What this does is we'll mute the volume after a couple of seconds automatically. You can turn that on and off. You can turn X band on, K band, the KA, laser, those are all on there as well. You have the ability to turn K pop on, the K filter on, the traffic sensors. That's if you live in an area where on the freeway or highways they have these traffic monitoring radar sensors. They'll set off your detector every so often on K band. You can turn that on to help reduce that. Also helps with other false alerts. You have your K blocks. These are notches. You can see the K block 1 is 24194 to 24204. That's kind of your Honda vehicle range for the different BSMs they put out. K block 2 covers 24.166 to 24.170. You have different options with those. You can turn it off, you can have it on, you can just have it on, but when there's just a weak signal, and a complete mute on the signaling time that occurs. We also have the K pop on and off, K filter, we have the K scan. This one, if you want to eliminate some of the falses on KA and speed up the scanning a bit, you can change it from the default of narrow. Narrow's actually pretty close to the segments. I like to run segments and then turn on the typical ones. 2 is for your 33.8, 5 is for your 34.7, 8 is for your 35.5. And then the stalkers at the 34.7 range can drift high and low, and so a lot of people, myself included, run with KA4 and KA6 enabled as well to cover those drifting stalker guns. So I run these segments 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8. If you live in an area that has MRCDT, you want to turn that on, GATSO, and as I mentioned, they have laser on and off. You also have the auto mute memory. So this one, since you're running with an app, the benefits of keeping that on is if you're not running the app, then you'll have the lockout locations stored in the detector, and we'll run with the detector without the app. I run with that off as I'm using the app. The app has more sophisticated location lockouts, has a lot more safety protection built in, so it doesn't lock out a real signal. It's just kind of a better way to go with the lockouts the way they are in the current state on the radar detectors, to use the advanced lockouts of the app. You also have the ability to reset the factory defaults. So you can go ahead and do that if you want. If you mess around with the settings, you decide you want to go back, you can do that. So there's a lot of nice settings here to let you avoid having to go into the settings on the radar detector. Go ahead and exit out of there. Show you some things on the front screen. Now you can control the volume of the radar detector. So for example, if you're adjusting the volume, you can see that volume indicator move on the app. And you can just do it right on the app.
R4 volume set to 5. R4 volume set to 6.
You can also do the mute volume as well.
R4 mute volume set to 2.
All right, from the front screen. Another one that we've added on the front screen is the mode selections. Right now you can see we're in the advanced mode of the detector. You can change that.
Mode change to highway.
Go to the highway settings.
Mode change to city.
Go to city. If you're running around the city, that will reduce the sensitivity of the K and X band.
Mode change to auto.
Or you can run auto, where it will adjust based on your speed, the various filter settings.
Mode change to advanced.
So now you can quickly switch between the different modes. You can see those reflected on the radar detector as you change them. Another feature that's been added in 102 is if you go to the map screen, we have this apply the spot locks to R4 mute memory. If you turn that off, then when there's a spot lock that occurs, the app will lock it out and control the muting on the device. If it's on, then when the spot lock is created, it will also create a location lockout on the detector for use if you're not using the app. It'll put those mute memory locations in, and you can use those if you want. I turn mine off, as I mentioned before. I just like to have the app cover all the different location lockouts. It has a more sophistication as far as knowing how many signals are in the area, how strong the signals are. It'll learn the different locations and keep a bunch of parameters that it'll adjust over time as those locations are trained. So they're just a lot more sophisticated and help keep you safe from locking out a legitimate threat, which is always a concern with the detector's built-in location lockouts. So I leave that off. You can put that on if you'd like. Another thing we've added is in the audio screen, there's been some requests to turn off the SpotLock voice announcements. So you can turn those off right here, and then when there's a lockout, you won't be interrupted. Your audio won't be ducked or whatever when it says that there's a spot lock that has been locked out. So that has been added as well. There's also been a lot of optimizations under the hood as far as the different K notches go. So if you go in the settings, we have this advanced false assist, which is really popular amongst the users. Takes care of a bunch of the known BSM falses from vehicles. This version has some additional tuning optimizations on the high-end Honda Acuras that, based on historical data, we've been able to put more data in there to help with those. And also the advanced false assist has a system called the ghost mute, and that one's been tuned as well based on historical data. So that's basically when you're stuck following a vehicle on the freeway or just on a city street and it keeps emitting these false K-band alerts. It'll detect those, mark that particular frequency as a ghosting signal as you follow them, and keep that muted for a period of time. If it doesn't detect that signal after about 30 seconds, then it will forget about it, and it's very tight around that specific frequency, so you don't need to worry about locking out a whole range of frequencies. If a car's putting out a 24, 1 to 4, for example, it'll just ghost that particular frequency until it is gone, and it'll handle up to 4 different frequencies with that. So you can be around 4 vehicles emitting different frequencies, or some of the vehicles have a lot of frequencies coming out of them for their BSMs. It'll handle those vehicles as well. Keep it nice and quiet for the alerts that you don't need, and it'll alert you when you don't want to be alerted. So that is the new 1.02 R4 companion. The update is now available. As always, the updates are free to everybody for the life of the app. So there'll be more features coming in. If you have a feature that you want to see put into the detector, simply go to radarcompanion.com and there'll be a contact form there that you can send suggestions and ideas to us. As you see, we've put in 30 plus different settings for the firmware, and we'll be adding more. So if you have a particular one that you didn't see in this release, let us know. As always, if you like the video, give us a like down below, subscribe so you're aware of new things that come out, and thank you for your time.